because people will find things to divide themselves. It is just the nature of humanity.
That's right. I mean, I can't stand people without hair. It's creepy. They're just creepy. I'm going to get so much fucking hate mail. Well, I think we found the bumper for today.
No, what's going to happen is when you subdivide humanity, they'll subdivide themselves. You're not even going to have to do it externally. People will congregate based on something that they have decided that they're going to hold dear, and they're going to self-isolate themselves from others that are not like themselves. That's what's going to happen. They're going to find, if you take away the normal things that divide people, they will find new things to divide themselves with. You laugh, but I am being utterly serious when I say that.
In this particular case, you're basically giving that you're not just creating this situation for a lark. There's a reason for it, which is you need help.
The situation, just like the guy.
So the problem is the situation walks in, and he's such a douchebag that the star just goes completely fucking nova just to get him the hell out of there.
You know, there's a guy named the situation.
I know there's a douchebag that calls himself the situation.
That's right, and I could totally see him saying what you just said.
Fuck you, Terry. Anyway, see what happened was, in this particular instance, the whole reason it was done was to basically provide a nice little sidestep around the fact that time is a real pain in the ass. So basically they could give another human civilization a chance to develop to take care of a problem that was also going to be their problem. So at least gave them some area of focus. And yet still, like you were talking about, divisions occurred. They kind of figured out what they needed to do. The difference is that from the very beginning, it was more of a, we're all in this together. And if we don't figure out a way out of this, we're fucked.
I don't know anything about the book in specific.
Of course you don't.
Your situation of isolating people and letting them grow up and then bringing them out of isolation. I can imagine you going ahead and putting the embryos in there and all the education and whatnot. And then you come back in a couple of years to open the gateway to bring out the people that'll help you, and outpours this huge army of powered Marines just conquering everything. You're like, where did they even come from? How did this even happen? But
the scary part is that actually might have been a good outcome. For what they were facing, that might have been a good outcome.
It'd be like watching Warhammer 40K just blow out through your gateway. Somebody
opens the portal and all hell just flies through it. Yeah, I got it.
Exactly so.
Yeah.
They've made a religion out of solving your problem, but their solution is so hideous and so over the top.
Takes care of everybody.
Be exterminated along with whatever the problem was. They're killing everything. Everything must die.
You see, this is what's really sad. I am the guy who's known as the dark guy, right? Who will write all the nasty, horrible, gruesome stuff and everything else. And yet I am more optimistic than you are.
You know, I don't think optimism and horror necessarily are mutually exclusive.
This is true. I'm simply saying stereotypes here. You're much more pessimistic than I am.
I kind of agree. I throw out a lot of really bad ideas of bad things that happen to Terry. I don't tend to write those kind of stories.
Terry, bad idea factory mix it.
Hey, I've got this really bad idea
for a book. You want it? Try it now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what I do. It's a gift.
Yeah, it's a gift, all right.
No, that's what I could just totally see you segregating this little splinter of humanity, giving them a couple of thousand years to develop, and you open it up, and it's something utterly mystifying and horrifying and destructive comes pouring
So
out.
suddenly thousands of ballet dancers come out for no
That's
fucking
their
reason.
answer. That is their answer to the problem. It's the Nutcracker writ large.
It's the ultimate indeterminacy machine. It is
What
Schrodinger's
will come
civilization.
out? No one knows.
It's in a slow time bubble, so it cannot be observed from the outside. They can't see you. You can't see them. Are they really in there? Are they dead? Are they alive? Do they really exist? We know we put them in there, but what happened after that? We have no idea.
Better yet, you open it up and it's empty. Everything is gone.
Oh,
Where the fuck did they go?
That's
Where the
also
fuck did they
creepy.
go?
That's also creepy. And just a note, so long and thanks for all the realities.
No, just a note that says we decline.
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
You put them in there to solve a problem, and it just says we decline, and they're gone. All of the equipment's gone. All the people are gone. Everything except the note is gone. You have no idea. It is technologically and scientifically impossible for them to have gone anywhere, and yet they're gone.
And then you find out they are your problem.
Oh,
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, yeah. They go to solve the problem and become the problem. That's really horrifying. You have created your own doom.
So this book also dealt with all the time dilation, relativistic bullshit that just makes my brain melt, kind of stuff. And it was really funny because in the books they fucked up their math. Bad. It happens. It happens. It was on purpose though.
Oh,
the writer had the characters fuck it up on purpose. They kind of missed a few gotchas in their computations. But regardless of that, it was really difficult to keep track of. But I remember when I read Three Body Problem, I never thought about using dimensions as weapons, right? If you could slide a 2D plane across 3D space, it would literally slice 3D space in half. That kind of thing.
The ultimate sharp object.
That's right. The ultimate sharp object. How about using slow time or fast time?
I've read that in other books.
Yeah.
Where someone used a time differential as a weapon on a moving object and slowed part of it, but not all of it, and it tore itself apart.
Right. And you can also do the same things to human beings, and you do not want to see the results.
Look over my shoulder.
Excuse me.
You'll see Miss Princess. I've got her in here today.
I see your new captive.
She can't hear us talking, but she may start meowing anyway. She's not exactly pleased to be in here with other cats.
Mm-hmm. Poor Woody. Poor Woody. Time as a weapon. Dimensions as a weapon.
Time keeps on slipping, slipping, slipping into the future.
Portals as weapons is really terrifying. You know, just like the little portable black hole from Bugs Bunny, the old Warner Brothers cartoons with the Wile E. Coyote. Yeah, imagine throwing those at a hole and having the other side, I don't know, open on a sun.
There was, oh gosh, I've read any number of different stories where they have those kind of portals, where there are a few that people that go through never come back.
Yeah.
They just don't. And they've been marked as, you know, something really, really, really bad is going on the other side, and you don't want to go there.
Here be monsters.
There be monsters. In effect, one of the ones that I saw that had travel between dimensions, it was different versions of Earth that they were going to. But one of them that they went to, basically they were on the surface of the planet, and they went through a transportation into orbit in another dimension, but it wasn't really in orbit. It was something that was supposedly around Earth, but Earth had been destroyed, taken down to a singularity, gone.
Oops. I always love that. I'm now seeing this stuff about this new fusion reactor thingy coming out of China that's going to France to work with some other thingy majiggy, and people are announcing things, and I'm like, I don't know how much of this is bullshit and how much of it is, oh my fucking God, we're all about to die.
Well, I just read today that China has made a breakthrough in quantum computing. So
Which
I'm
goes,
sure that's going to end well.
that also goes along with the fusion reactor research, which is curious. However, it's just like you got these people were worried when they booted up the Hadron Super Collider that there was just going to be a huge hole in the ground after they started it up.
There was another science fiction set of books that I had read that this group of humanity, this one solar system, was cut off from the Terran Federation from using their warp gates because all of a sudden the warp gates just vanished. It was gone. They had no idea what had happened. It just disappeared. Supposedly an impossibility. And 100 and some odd years later, the sky lights up with a nova that had taken out the warp line connection. The light finally reached them. And when it passed, it was Antares blowing up, basically. And when the wave front passed, the warp gate reappeared, and they were able to leave again. But the planet that it went to was fairly close to Antares and had been irradiated with radiation, was dead.
Fun
things like that.
I have an interesting question for you, Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you were evac from Earth. Okay, evac from Earth. Earth was nuked. Bad. Horrible. Planet destroyed, ecosystem gone, all this, that, and the other.
Okay.
You go away for a couple of 100,000 years, whatever. You come back. Is there really any reason to come back?
Maybe to set up a plaque saying humanity was here.
Even if you had the technology to terraform it, to do all these things with it, is there really any reason?
Humanity would find a reason to try to renovate the old house.
I think you're right. Some portions, if they had enough history behind them and a ridiculous amount of money and materials.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Earth could be the vacation home, right? For the human race.
It's the fixer-up.
Right now,
it's
a fixer-upper, yeah. Well, it was a beautiful planet. It needs a paint job. You got to get rid of them pesky vermin.
You'd have to do something about that plumbing. Everywhere. That plumbing is just out of control.
And you don't want me to get started on the fuse box. Yeah. It just brings up an interesting question, is how much sentimentality will survive. We are sentimental about things from our past. We're sentimental about things that have stood the test of time or have lore associated with it, even if it's not something we were alive for. There is a sentimental attachment to it. But how long does it take for that sentimentality to wear off to the point where it's just, 1,000 years from now, is anybody going to give a shit about World War II?
Right now, you've got vacationers that go to Rome.
True.
To see things that were 2,000 years old. They go to Egypt to see the pyramids that are 4,000 years old.
Yeah.
So you're going to find something to make somebody go there even after all that time.
But those people have never traveled to the Saturnian rings. They've never been beyond the icy confines of the Kuiper Belt and discovered new systems and stars. Why the hell would you want to go back to this one? And for those playing the drinking game at home, we have our second cat sighting. And of course, it was Screamer.
She was demanding out, so out she goes.
She was demanding something. She looked rather surprised to be up in the air.
She was running away from me, so I couldn't grab her, but I caught up with her.
So let me get this straight. She wants out, but she doesn't want you to kick her out.
She was trying to skirt along me to let me know she wanted out, but wanted to avoid me grabbing her and picking her up. So she managed to dodge me, but I caught up with her.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So now that Terry has, explained his cat wrangling plans.
Hey, cat wrangling writ large into the future is how you're going to control humanity.
So basically, they're just going to control us by being cute and landing on our laps and demanding us we take care of them.
Actually, you've got it backwards. They're going to treat us like cats, not us treat them like cats.
The cats have pretty good lives.
I can deal with it, you know.
I can deal with that.
Welcome our FUD humans, our FUD aliens.
Okay, do alien races ever get the zoomies?
What are the zoomies?
Oh, you're not familiar with this? Oh, yes, you are familiar with
The term sounds vaguely familiar, but it's not clicking for me.
I had never really heard the term until Carrie used it about a week or two ago with in reference to shadow. You know, when for no effing reason whatsoever, they suddenly go completely fucking insane. Start chasing shit that's not there, running through the house, just causing all sorts of craziness and freaking out about everything, making strange noises, running around in circles, attacking toys, the whole 9 yards. And then suddenly it goes away and they go nap. Yep. The zoomies. Those things.
I'll accept that.
Do alien races get the zoomies?
Sure. Why not?
Depending on what their makeup is, that could be a bad thing. You have nothing to say.
I accept it. I accept it as presented.
Oh my God. So much hopelessness here. Do you actually have a topic for today?
I thought we were in the topic.
We're in the topic. Yes, but you're not playing along. You're being a bastard.
You said something I totally agreed with. I disagree. I don't disagree. Not at all. I agree.
I wasn't expecting agreement, disagreement. I was expecting elaboration.
I'm in violent agreement with you.
Oh my God. This is why we can't have a show. This right here. This right here.
This is why, are you kidding? This is why people come to the show.
Oh, Jesus, we feel so sorry for you.
You know, I think you've introduced a great idea.
Oh, God.
Of trying to guess what humanity is going to do writ large into a particular set of circumstances. You originally started talking about, if we took off a chunk of them and set them aside. Mm-hmm. But if you isolate any piece of humanity, guessing what they're going to do is half the fun. If you isolate a society, whether having a sun go nova and cutting them off from the rest of the universe or anything else. And by the way, that book was entitled Antari's Dawn was the book. And it was pretty good. I liked it. It was a trilogy. It was pretty good. But if you take any book and you cut off a chunk of society, you could do all kinds of weird and strange things to either them or to the people that they were cut off from.
Right.
And that's half the fun, is when you come out of your isolation after time has passed and you're going, we're back, and you find something completely inexplicable or completely strange that has gone on with the rest of the universe. Why are you all wearing these face coverings that look like cats? How did this happen?
Why are you wearing cats in your faces?
Why is everyone wearing cat suits? Why are you not wearing cat suits? We must kill you because you are not wearing cat suits.
Jesus Christ. If you gave if you created this God, what do you want to call it? Isolated culture. Well, you're not creating the culture. You're basically putting the conditions there for once they become conscious and are able to do that they can basically kind of peruse everything, figure out what they want to be. They could look at all world history.
But you put no guidance in place.
That is correct. So
you are literally allowing anything to happen. Anything is fair. Now, what's going to raise these embryos? Because that's going to have an influence.
I would assume that there would be AIs.
Sure. So they are going to influence humanity in what they decide to teach them and what they decide not to teach them.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's interesting.
Because you can't just say, I'm giving all of human knowledge there. They're going to learn all of human knowledge because it's impossible. There's not enough time. So the AI is going to have to come up with what it thinks is the appropriate information to present a growing child up to an adult to whatever age you're talking about, what will make that education so that they aren't just a knuckle dragging, femur smashing cave person. You've got to give them some type of guidance in what kind of education they're going to get, and that will in turn influence them.
I think if we're going to go jump off of this into this
Metaphorical cliff.
Yeah, if we're going to go ahead and leap off. I think if you've got that kind of power to do all that, you already have the power to transfer memories and information to their brains. I don't think there'll be any teaching.
In effect,
what you mean.
Human model that is going to dictate what they think.
What if you, Terry Mixon, could learn 56 languages tomorrow and devour books, I don't know, at light speed?
See, that's a totally different question than what if I could take my personality or my memories and impress it onto a young, immature child.
Oh, I was not saying that.
See,
I was not saying.
That is what I kind of interpreted as what you were saying.
No, that is an interesting idea.
That's even scarier right there, because let's come back to imprinting knowledge, because that's a totally separate sort of thing than the other. If you're going to have children raised in some way, you say, I'm going to be free in what I teach them, but there is absolutely no way to make that happen, because you're going to have to make choices about how to educate them so they don't set themselves on fire while trying to make breakfast. you laugh, but it's truth. You've got to teach them basic safety and certain other things so that they don't become Lord of the Flies type civilization. And by choosing these things, you influence what comes after.
Correct. Which also goes back to the ideas of, wouldn't you have a base template for an AI, for sentient?
Did you hear that there was a real case of the Lord of the Flies in Australia?
I could say I thought that was the norm for the entire country, but then I would get lots and lots of fucking hate mail, but it would be a joke anyway. So let's assume I said it. Go ahead.
There was a group of school children that were going to sail from one island to another and got blown off course and ended up being stranded for, I think, I want to say almost 2 years, that grew up without adult supervision. They were teenagers, and they didn't turn violent. They didn't eat one another. They cooperated, and they got along just fine.
There's fucking hope.
This was maybe 70, 80, 100 years ago. So it wasn't something recent. This was back before there would have been a massive search everywhere for these children. I think it was like the 20s or 30s or something remote like that this happened, maybe the 40s. But yeah, so there's an example for you of children, but they at least had some level of education before they got there.
Yeah, William Golding. Right. Yeah. So that was 1954.
54, okay.
Yeah, 54.
So still quite a ways back.
Yeah, and the Pacific is a very, very large place.
I forget. Did it come from Australia? I want to say that might have been New Zealand. Could have been. I think it was somewhere down in that area is where that happened.
Nah, it was somewhere in the world. These kids got stranded. They were there for 2 years. They got picked up, and they were a little scrawny, but they were fine.
What did you look up?
Story.
What did you look up?
I looked up Lord of the Flies.
Okay, so this happened before Lord of the Flies. I think that the book may have been inspired by the idea. Now I'm going to have to look it up because I want to make sure I've got the right time frame.
Good God. I'm being assailed by ads for Wikipedia. Don't I give you people enough money? 6
boys were trapped for 15 months, and it was 1965.
Oh, so predates it.
Marooned on an island. Yeah, it was in 1965.
So this book predates that. There you go. There were only 6 of them.
Yeah, the book predates it. And I just tossed a link in there so you can into the private chat so that you can look it up later if you like.
Okay.
I remember that story.
The reason why they were fine, there were only 6 of them.
So is that the answer? If there was a critical mass, there would be problems.
Well, if you remember the book, there was also 2 different groups. There were the kids that were the choir or whatever the fuck it was, and they already had like their own uniforms kind of stuff, and were already a separate clique. Before shit even started, they were already basically 2 separate camps before the book even starts. So big shock. Plus, when you get 10 or 12, 13, 14 people, your problems escalate pretty fast. Any personality issues. So, yeah. 6 people I can believe. 6 people I can believe living on an island together without any problems.
And there were people that already knew each other.
And there's another thing. You're not just throwing a bunch of strangers together and then saying, I wonder what'll happen when this goes on. There's a Star Trek episode where Picard ends up getting captured or absconded with, and he's put up with a bunch of alien races, and they all have problems, and one of them wants to eat the other one, and there's all this kind of crazy bullshit. Was this Star Trek?
Maybe. I honestly don't remember that. There was something like that in the old series.
Yeah, I don't remember. Anyway, regardless, people are a problem. Actually, no.
Well, if you only eliminated people, then you'd solve your problem.
Let me fix that. Sentients are a problem.
I don't think we have too much problem with sentience these days.
Not on this planet. Hopefully there are others that will have more luck. But yeah,
they're just not picking up. We keep calling, but nobody is going to answer. Don't recognize the area code. Not.
They already saw our TV shows, and we're like, yeah, fuck that shit. What is this Calgon thing? What is that? Oh. Well, okay, I've got a face full of tail. And now a face full of face. We here at DRS welcome our new fur-laden overlords.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Yeah, the patrons are going to be just really getting hammered right now. Hopeless.
Little girl says, no, I just want love.
After completely destroying your camera, your mic stand, everything. This is hopeless.
You enjoy it. Just don't even try.
Why are there so many goddamn cats in your house?
Because I rescue cats. That's what I do.
Who's going to rescue you?
That's a question that I don't know the answer to, and that's probably why humanity is going to extinguish itself.
That the answer to that question is going to extinguish humanity.
Yes.
Okay. Now that I've established the base rules for our common ground with reality, maybe we can have a conversation.
So what you need to have when you isolate this segment of humanity is you need to make sure that, the AIs get a specific instruction to take care of the cats, and that turns into a global religion among this new people taking care of the cats.
I love
because
this.
Somehow they've taken this one simple statement
I love this.
and they've blown it huge.
I love this. And Saint Fluffy said, for the mound of cat litter.
You open the door. Where did this come from? What happened here?
Fucking skyscrapers in the shapes of cats.
Exactly. Just
all the cats everywhere.
Extremes. Everybody's wearing cat robes.
No, you can't wear cat robes.
The priesthood wears cat robes. One group might be calico, another one might be Siamese. You just don't know. It's the furless ones you got to really watch out for because they just go naked.
But here's the question: given the technology, would they try and infuse themselves with DNA to get to that point?
Well, sure, let's do it.
Cat people. I saw that movie with Nastasia Kinski way back in the 70s.
I don't know if I saw whatever that movie was either or not. I don't know.
It ain't good. Anyway,
so you talked earlier about learning, artificial learning. Yeah. What if I could learn 50 languages?
Yes.
I'd do it. It wouldn't change who I am. Now, admittedly, learning a language is not the same thing as knowing a language.
Okay. What I was trying to say is if you were fluent in 56 languages and you were able to devour all the books and everything from those cultures, histories, and know everything about them, would that or would that not change your worldview?
Of course it would. Because to understand a foreign language to the point to where you are fluent with it and conversant with it, you have to adjust your thinking to accept all of the background that information comes from. You may not agree with all of it, but if I learned French to the point to where I was fluent in it, that would give me part of that learning it would give me the background of cultural things from France that are foreign to what I currently know.
Correct.
And it would change me.
Right.
It would have to. There's just no other way about it.
It's
to be fluent in something, you have to be able to think in it.
Yes.
If you can't think in it,
yes.
then you are not fluent in it.
Yes. And education always opens those windows up to exposing yourself to different thoughts, different viewpoints, and consider different interpretations.
My God, that sounds like cultural relativism.
You know, are you really going to bring that shit up?
Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe that's
We're really going to get into this fucking war right now.
I don't know that I'm saying that in a negative way, but if you start digging into culture, you're going to find things that they believe that are opposite of what you believe.
Oh,
now,
absolutely.
that discordance inside yourself is going to be an interesting thing that you're going to have to come to terms with.
It's already there. I have that same problem with just the way people practice Christianity. Every culture has dogma. Every religion that I've ever come across has dogma. I think to be a religion, you have to have dogma. I think that's the way that works. I think it's how.
Is that a mandated sort of thing?
I think it is, because otherwise it's just a philosophy.
Ouch. You know, I had never thought about what the difference between religion and philosophy is, but I suppose you're right. I hadn't thought about that.
Without dogma, it's all just philosophy. Period. In the story. Without any of the trappings and the bullshit and the ritual, it's just philosophy.
You know, I think it would be really cool to have a society that has all of the dogma of something. But hang on. Let me finish the thought here. They have the dogma of it, but they consciously don't have the belief system that goes with it. Why do you do these things? Because we've been trained to do this, and it's just the way we are.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you do this because you're God's? We don't believe in God's. What are you, stupid? You're sitting there going, what is happening here? What is happening here?
It's just the way things are done. What?
It's just how we were trained to do it. It's how my father did it, and it's how I'm going to do it.
Exactly. There's no questioning of cultural tradition because it's just passed down without any thought. It's not even explained. It just kind of comes down.
It is even explained. We know why we're doing it. We know that this is what it used to mean. We don't believe that sort of thing anymore, but we've decided to keep the formalities.
Well, it's kind of like, oh God, I'm going to get in trouble for this one. It's kind of like Christmas. Christmas, I mean, yes, when I was a kid, we were celebrating the birth of Christ. You know what we're really celebrating? Everything I want in the Sears catalog. Everything I want in the fucking Sears
that I can get. Materialism, that's what we celebrate here.
That's what I was celebrating when I was 10.
Pretty much. Now take that to 11 and run it out about 1,000 years.
Exactly. Turn it up to 11.
And you're with a church of cats with people dressing up like cats, and really it's just the way it is. You can't really understand from the outside why they're doing it. Everybody says, well, it's the three seashells. Don't you know anything about this? And yet it means nothing to you.
You're right. Without any context, as somebody being dropped into that culture, just wandering around going, what the fuck is this shit?
I want to take you to Taco Bell. Okay, sure, yeah. I could use a burrito.
You keep referencing that movie. It's so bad. It is such a horrible movie. Stop it.
You know, it's so bad, it's funny. I've seen worse. It was entertaining, at least. I've seen worse.
I've seen worse too. Speaking of seeing worse, and yes, we're jumping all over the place here now, but I have to go with this because I meant to mention it during the pre-show, but we didn't really have a pre-show. So I saw all 3 John Wick movies.
And what did you think?
Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday night. 1, 2, 3. Wow. Just wow. I think that's the fewest lines Keanu Reeves has ever had in a movie.
I can buy that. Yeah.
And I think that goes for all 3 movies. You put them together. I think it's still the fewest lines of dialogue he's ever had. And that includes the movie Dangerous Liaisons in the late 80s, early 90s with Michelle Pfeiffer, John Malkovich, and etc. They were fun.
Did you ever think you'd see Keanu Reeves be a deadly MF like that?
I know he's got the chops for it, but from the Matrix films, but holy shit, that man is in incredible shape. I agree with you that the assassin organizations and everything that's going on there is really interesting. And I wish I knew more about it. I'm guessing we'll find out more if there's a 4, which I'm guessing there will be a 4 based on the way
they've already signed for 2 more.
Well, then there you go. But at the same time, these would be the most boring books ever.
This is visual, man.
These would be the most
visual.
boring fucking books ever because there's nothing going on.
It's all flash, no bang.
It's all, yeah, exactly. There's except for the couple of one-liners, there's absolutely nothing to stir the imagination going on here. Nothing. There's no explanation.
I absolutely like it when the cop shows up after they tried to attack his house. Hey.
What do you mean tried?
Any problem? No.
You working tonight?
Working tonight?
Bottom line, if you want to see how not to write a book, watch these 3 movies. This is not how you write a book.
I think what makes, other than the fact that of the pure action sequences, if you leave that aside, what makes the stories interesting that are there is not what they tell you about the world of assassins behind the scenes.
It's what you
It's
see.
what they don't tell you.
It's what you see and what you hear and these little tidbits that you start putting together to kind of get a picture of what's going on.
It comes across as something that's whole cloth inside this world, but you only see bits and pieces of it, and it entices you to want more.
Yeah, and that's the main reason at this point for me to keep watching, beside the ass kicking, which sometimes is just ridiculous. The things he did to some of those people was just wow. Holy
I can see you after the fight at his house hitting the pause button and sitting back and going, I've got to think about this. What the fuck did I just see?
I was living the 3rd movie, and he did all that over a dog. He did all this for a fucking puppy? No, not quite.
Years ago, before I saw John Wick, I said I wanted to write a story about an assassin who has community service to help make up for some of the terrible things he's done. He hunts down animal abusers and kills them.
Mm-hmm.
I even wrote a short story to that effect that I now don't have any idea where I put it, but it was fun to write. It was very cathartic. Cathartic to write.
Cathartic.
That's the word, yeah.
Cathartic.
Cathartic, like, yeah.
Like, yeah.
Like Carthage, but totally different. You
How...
think cathartic is got some relation to Carthage?
Oh God! All right, we're about to have.
It sounds like it now. Now I was wondering if it's related.
Providing psychological relief through the open expression of strong emotions, causing catharsis. Goes back to the Greek word to cleanse.
So basically, Carthage was a place where the dry cleaners were.
Catharsis entered English as a medical term having to do with purging the body and especially the bowels of unwanted material.
You know,
the adjective cathartic entered English with a meaning descriptive of such a physically cleansing purge. It didn't take long for people to start using these words figuratively in reference to emotional release and spiritual cleansing.
So basically, it's taking an emotional dump.
Yeah.
This is like a colonic for the soul.
You got it. There you go, man.
My brain needs some of that stuff. Give me some exercise for my brain.
I got nothing for that.
Actually, it's called writing. It's also called diary entries. It's also called talking to your best friend. All that's data dump. Catharsis is just unloading, finding a way to unload it. And see,
I usually just get into a big old fight scene in my novel when I need to unload.
Yeah, I just start killing primary characters. Fuck that person.
Well, I don't really kill off the primary characters, but I like chewing up the real estate.
Well, yeah, possessions just can always be replaced, right?
There's nothing like hiding behind a set of wall lockers and having it all chewed to pieces, and then going, exactly how am I going to explain all of this disastrous destruction?
Don't you have cams covering that? I think they know how it happened.
It's more complicated than that, but it's not something I can explain without being spoilery.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'll tell you after.
What if I don't want to know?
And I'm not going to tell you. Then I may tell you anyway, just because that's how I am.
God, it's annoying. You see what I got to deal with, folks? Listen to this crap. How would you write John Wick if you're going to write it as a novel?
It would be a running monologue of his thoughts. All the words he didn't say would be in his head.
So very noir detective kind of thing, yes, where he only speaks 5 words the entire book, but his brain is going overdrive the entire time.
She walked in, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, except it wouldn't be that quite so noirish.
Yeah. I know she was going to be a problem when she pulled out the weapon and shot at me 3 times. Yeah, that's how John Wick would be. Yeah. And yet
that's how you'd have to write that story. If you don't have dialogue, you've got to have the internal monologue going.
Well, yeah, you got to have something going on. And it doesn't have to be expansive. It doesn't have to be, he doesn't have to be spouting poetry, loquacious. He doesn't have to be loquacious in his thoughts.
Loquacious of Borg, who can't shut up.
In fact, it might be more interesting to actually see what his thoughts are in relation to what happened in the past with this person to be this reference for them to be in his life.
I'm not sure even writing that I could successfully make it happen.
I don't think
John Wick is so action heavy that I'm not sure how effective I would be at doing that.
That character has almost nothing holding it together, and yet you just kind of don't care. They set you up in the first 5 minutes of the film to fall in love with this guy, and then you watch just all this shit happen. And
it's watching a nice guy get a shaft and then discovering he didn't used to be the nice guy.
No, he's the fucking boogeyman.
He's the fucking boogeyman, and he's coming for you.
No, he is the man you sent to kill the boogeyman. Yeah, when I first saw that, I was like, "Oh, this is not going to end well for anybody." It didn't. It didn't.
Many years ago, I had a story idea that this was pre-John Wick as well, of writing one of these, heroic fantasy novel type stories where you've got the kid who's the supposed chosen one and the old Yoda style trainer, and then partway through the book, the chosen one is killed. And you discover that the trainer is the boogeyman. He's the one that put aside all the dark things. And then he takes them back out and takes up the mantle of good, even though he's the evil man. And I never got around to writing that particular story, but it's a powerful thing. It's a powerful theme to take someone who you think is one thing and find out he's something else.
Or that you might agree with what they're doing, but their motivations are completely fucked.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, they may be doing things that you agree with, but their thought process as to why they're doing it is just wrong.
Here's an image of why or how that could work and be very effective in a novel. Let's say that we'll talk superhero genre, okay? I'm supporting a Kickstarter for a tabletop RPG that's superheroes based.
Right.
And it's a good example of this. You've got brothers with superpowers. You can think of them very much like Charles Xavier and Magneto.
Okay. Right.
They each have different goals that they think that they are trying to help mutants. One of them is definitely pretty good. One of them is definitely pretty bad. But at one point, they were close friends. At one point, they shared goals. And during the comics, there was a place where Charles Xavier was knocked out of being able to participate. He was taken down. And Magneto stepped in to control the X-Men within his own bounds of appropriate behavior that Charles would approve of. But he was an evil man. He's a bad man. And having someone act outside their normal role and do things for someone else's reasons by their own means is a really fucked up way to write a story.
It's also the why are you doing this is because, well, it's what
because Charles would want me to.
Because so and so would have wanted it that way. But you're not that person. I am now. You know, basically it's there's a reason for a switch, and it changes everything about that person to a certain degree that maybe they will follow a different set of rules than they normally wouldn't play by. And it might not even be for the reasons that they tell other people. And they may not even explain it. There may not be a reason to do so.
I think that type of character is some of the most powerful in fiction, where you've got someone that's so conflicted that he could be good or he could be evil, depending on the motivation at play.
Yeah, and then there's the question of where's that line anyway? You're talking about cultural relativism, and now I'm talking about legal relativism or moral relativism, ethical relativism. It is the slippery slope, and there really aren't any fucking absolutes, and that's why there's the human condition. You have to make choices, and people's choices reveal kind of who they are. Based on the information they have, they could be completely wrong based on incomplete information, but you can basically guess kind of person they are based on the decisions they make with the information they have. Characters are people.
Even complex people are fun to deal with as creators.
Broken folks with issues, haunting pasts, unresolved issues, unresolved problems, cataclysmic failures, living in the shadow of your own success. Yeah.
One of the other stories that I never got around to writing was a story from another high fantasy story where the bad guys are the ones that win the war against good versus evil. And when they do, it sets something worse loose in the universe, and they end up being the defenders of survival of humanity because they don't want to die along with humanity. So they've got to change what their goals are and open themselves to other things to fight something that's worse than they are.
Yeah, but then is it as an enemy of my enemy is my friend, or is it just, oh crap, they're breaking our stuff? Damn it, we can't allow them to break our stuff.
It's like locusts coming to eat everything. That's what I had in mind. That kind of evil. The one that it doesn't matter if you think you're good or bad, you're going to die if you don't do something. And not only will you die, all the people that provide the food that you eat, they're gone too. All those people you wanted to rule, they're gone. And the fun part of the story that I was going to have writing it is the slow seeping of the ideals of caring about the humans under their control seeping into their consciousness until they were changed to the point to where they realized that they've switched sides, that they've become good to a degree.
Do the gods really know what humans are like unless they live as humans?
I believe that's a story. It's like the original Thor movie that they had in the Marvel universe, where his powers are taken away and he's cast down to earth because of his arrogance.
Mm-hmm. So if you're on the outside, it'd be just like us trying to imagine the world of ants. Unless you can live in an ant colony, guessing you're not going to be able to have a clue. It's just not possible to pass along that experience unless you're able to get in there with them.
It's fun taking somebody that's shoehorned into one place in society and then taking that away from them and making them have to change.
There's an interesting point in one of the books where one of the aliens has spent time as a human, and it kind of fucked him up to the point where he's barely able to reintegrate into his own back into his own culture. There's all this anger and hate and all this other stuff that's just not the rest of the aliens just in that group just don't have. And he's got it just laser focused. And when you find out who he was, because you sort of meet this as a human, when you find out who this thing was as a human, you're like, oh my God, that thing's still alive. And it's fucking shit up for everybody because it went insane. It was introduced to a completely, totally alien culture and ways of thought. And it was a religious zealot to begin with. And then when it finds out that, people don't have exactly the same thoughts or are unwilling to sacrifice themselves in the way demanded, it decides that, well, they're just worthless. That's kind of an issue. Because then it goes back to its own world and starts fucking shit up because it's now infected, so to speak, with thought.
And its infection will spread. Potentially.
This goes back to the Borg episode, right? They cut the Borg off from the rest of the collective, and they're able to talk to it and get it to realize it's an individual, and then they send it back.
Spoiler here, that character is in the Picard season 1.
Is he?
He is.
Good. Hugh?
Yes.
Wasn't that his name? Hugh?
Hugh.
Good. He was in, 2 more Star Trek episodes? Both
he was in at least 1. I think you're right. It may have been 3.
May have been 3. It was the first one. I think there were 2 with Lore. When Lore took over the Borg for a little while. If that's the right way to say that. I never quite figured out how that worked.
Yeah, Picard season 1 has elements of freed Borg in it, and Hugh is there.
Free Borg! Free Borg! Play Free Borg, man! No? I was going to pull out my lighter and do the whole thing? No?
Picard's been out for a while. Do you want me to throw some spoilers at you?
No. Not
It's
really.
also got 7 of 9 in it.
I never watched that show.
I watched it.
I know you did. I just never watched it.
I was disappointed in a lot of it, but
just
the character was
Trek
fine.
thing, not into the Star Wars thing, but I'm much more of a Trek guy than I am a Star Wars guy.
Yeah, well, one thing that I like about the portrayal they have of 7 of 9 in this futuristic Picard timeline, she's got a lot more humanity about her. She's developed more social grace, and she's not afraid to kill people that need killing.
Well, okay then.
I'll just leave it at that.
Well,
That's one of the best damn scenes in the whole season 1. If somebody needs killing, she might just be the one to take care of that for you.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. I'll put that in my Rolodex. I'll add that over there. Call 7 of 9 for hit on Jake Bible. Got it.
Jake doesn't stand a chance.
Is culture an infection?
Yes.
Good or
if
bad?
you were dropped into a culture, no matter what you are going to be changed by it. It will infect your way of thinking because you can never go back. Once you're exposed to ideas, you can't unlearn them.
Oh, come
New
on. With enough
concepts, new
alcohol and
ideas.
drugs, they can make all of that go away.
Only if you're a computer and they reset you. An Android get reset to factory specs. Sorry. Other
I
than
wish
that,
somebody would reset me to factory specs.
I just need I need a hardware upgrade.
Dude, there's no the hardware upgrades. I don't know. I'm afraid of the upgrades. The maintenance is bad enough. The upgrades, some of them are worse, seems like. There's I want you to think about this for a second. If we have the concept of rejuvenation, being able to rejuvenate your body or whatever, send it back to your 20s, whatnot, grow new organs, live forever kind of bullshit.
Okay.
What happens to all the early adopters who go through the fucking beta test and find all the bugs?
Do you remember the song? Oh God, what is it? I don't remember. It's Ozzy Osbourne's group. I think
Black Sabbath.
Black Sabbath. Remember the whole "I am Iron Man"?
Mm-hmm.
The song they're talking about, the man who traveled through time to save the world and his body turned to iron and how he set out to destroy it. That's the early beta testers right there, I think. That's them.
But see, like with cloning, if I was gonna clone my body, to I don't know, back when I was 18 or 20, and then transfer my consciousness over. What about the people who went through that early before they worked out all the kinks? What happens to them?
There's going to be some flaws.
And what kinds of things go wrong?
There's one particular set of books that I had read, written by Sarah Hoyt, that it's set in the far future. And you discover after going through this that the oligarchs who are going through this are raising their children. At least one of their children is always a clone of them so that they can transfer their brains into them at a later point in life, which of course kills the child because they throw the brain away. There's a screwed up bit of future whatever where the oligarchs are going to take not only you, but everything about you just because they want your body. Eternal life comes with a price.
That was
the
free,
death
Jack.
of whoever.
That was free, Jack. Emilio Estevez movie? Was it Emilio?
It could be. The theme is not
Charlie
new.
Sheen?
The theme is not new.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You are the perfect physical specimen. I will now take out your brain and put my brain in yours, in your body. You can have my body. Do you want my body, Terry?
If you want my body and you think I'm sick,
Hey, stop it. Stop it. You're going to get a copyright strike. You're going to get us a copyright strike. I like the Revolting Cox version much better.
The which part?
The Revolting Cox.
I don't know that I've heard their version. I will have to look it up.
That is a band. You should also.
I'm believing you. I will have to look and see if I can find their version of that.
You should also try and find Beer, Steers, and Queers. Just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. Thank me and be horrified later.
Now, think about this, though. I'm almost 60, and look at how intolerant I am. Imagine somebody that lives 200 years. They are going to be unlivable with. They are going to be unbelievable with because everything they're going to become so adverse to any kind of change whatsoever. That's not the way it was done 200 years ago when I was born. Blah, 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 blah. Jesus Christ.
And see, therein lies the real problem with living forever, at least in our stage, because as far as I'm concerned, humanity is probably about like 150 years away from some sort of quote unquote stability, whatever that might be. But for right now, because things are moving so fast, it almost seems like, oh, well, I'm 10 years older than these people and I don't recognize them. I don't understand how they think. I don't understand what anything else. Well, yeah.
Generation X, who understands those people?
I am Gen X, you fucker.
You sure? You're a little old to be Gen X, aren't you?
No, 1970. Right.
Maybe I'm thinking of something, maybe Gen Y or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's Gen Z. I don't understand these Gen Z people.
I don't even know what any of that shit means. All I know is that
They're in their 20s now.
they're in their 20s. Well, of course you wouldn't understand them. What do you take part of that actually includes them to understand what it is they're doing and what they're about?
Nothing.
There you go.
Literally, absolutely
And
nothing.
that is why you are the old man screaming at the clouds and throwing things, because you are living in this tiny little world which no longer has any semblance to the rest of it.
But let's go ahead and change that, because now you've created people that can live it potentially forever.
Yeah.
The people that are now 100 years old, you will never get power over them. They will control everything about you because they control the reins of society, and they will never let go.
And that goes back to the whole idea of oligarchy. And say you're wealthy and you have enough money, just keep living forever. Well, you're set. You end up as the meths in Ultra Carbon.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it ends up like.
Somebody had a great point that I saw on a meme years and years ago that said everybody has this idea that if you were a vampire that's lived for 500 years, how you'd be like somebody from the French Revolution. And it's like, no, you would be somebody that favors pants that were designed 200 years before the shirt that you're wearing, who speaks, bits and pieces of 3, 5, 8 different languages all mixed together. And you're so muddled in your own identity that you're incomprehensible to anyone else.
It is a danger. Of course, in all seriousness, though, I would think as that kind of technology matures that they're going to find ways to deal with that. But the drift, how many memories can you keep straight? And can you keep in order? And how much of those time frames can you keep together before they all just mush?
Here's what you need to do. You were talking about splitting off society. Here's a future society for you, one that has eradicated death itself. They let people grow. Once you reach a certain age, say a 20-year span, they take every single person that age is, and they send them on a generation ship to another star. They just keep sending generations off. That's how they keep society at home the same, and they send off society with everybody with similar worldviews all off by themselves.
Oh, that's a really fucking bad idea.
I'm sure that's going to end up well, but it's a great story idea. Then you can actually have war between the Gen Xers and the Gen Zs.
Oh, for crying out loud. Get a rest, Grandpa.
Get off my planet!
Yeah,
Get out of my solar system, you young whippersnapper!
So say you've got 5,000 species, alien species in cryo. Maybe you found some alien race that had taken them over and shunted them into hibernation chambers, whatever. Now, because you're not a bad species, you want to bring these species back out of captivity. However, what are the ethics about where you decide to settle them? In other words, I have these 3,000 species. Do I need to be careful about which ones I allow to be my next door neighbors?
You should be. Very careful.
Or should I just be kind of like, fuck it?
I don't understand why these are in here anyway. Oh, space locusts. That's why they're in here. Space locusts.
You were to free this hibernated species. Yeah, they were all put in here for a reason. They're not supposed to be back out.
The irony is that whoever you took them from was trying to put humanity in there.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. There you go. What were they trying to exterminate us? They were trying to save the rest of the fucking galaxy, you dipshit. We're a plague.
Those weren't alien invaders. Those were alien pest control.
It was pest control.
It was pest control. They were coming to take care of us. It was Terminex coming to our planet.
Well, if you allow that human infection to spread, pretty soon it's going to be eating at everything.
See this big old mud nest over here? That's going to cause you problems years from now.
It does take the idea of security to a completely new level. It's not even national security, it's not global security, it's not even solar system security. You're talking about
Species security.
it's just hard to imagine with it's just like in the old days, okay, when the map ended with here be monsters, right? In human civilization. The known world was very, very tiny. Very, very tiny for
And
each
very insular.
yeah, very insular for each society. If you try and take that from 800 or 900 years ago and you project it out into the galaxy, just the galaxy, not the freaking universe, but just the galaxy, it starts to
Only a couple of 100 million stars. That's
only a
almost
couple
nothing.
100 million stars. But you know, back then though, the sea never ended. It looked to be there was no end to it. You got in the ocean, you went on forever. And there's still some dipships today that think you fall off the map. But the bottom line is that is so huge and so massive in scope that it's very hard to get around the idea that things would work the way they would work here. Here we have nations. Each nation has a political apparatus of some sort, and they all kind of work kind of the same way. They really do.
I'm sure that the people in China would disagree with you.
There's a bureaucracy. Okay, forget the level of human rights or anything else. I'm just talking about the infrastructure. The infrastructure more or less operates the same everywhere, regardless of who.
Force is what takes care of it.
Doesn't matter. Bottom line is
here as well. You get away with what you could get away with, and then they draw the line and they smack you down if you cross it.
Correct. It's just a question of who's controlling the lines. But regardless, we have a pretty good idea how that shit works. Okay, but that's now. 1,000 years ago, how hard was it? How difficult was it for Europeans to do business with? I don't know, Africa, Egypt, name any of the places before Marco Polo, for instance.
The secret to dealing with other nations back then is you found someone that could act as an interface between you.
Yes, and for both of you to have something the other wanted.
Well, you got to have a meaningful thing to exchange along with a meaningful person that can understand both sides to a degree.
So what we should really do is when we encounter an alien species is we should bring them our cats.
Yes, our cats will go ahead and be both our export and our ambassadors.
Also because they are very tasty to the aliens.
Oh, exterminate the aliens.
Oh my God, they ate Ambassador Fur Turd.
They must die. Interstellar war starts now. Interstellar war starts meow.
Oh, that's bad. Oh, that's bad.
Lynn Stewart, one of the stories that he has, he's got a alien species that's very powerful in it, but they are extremely antisocial. To the point to where the vast majority of them can't even leave their own worlds because they literally want nothing to do, not only with people outside their own species, but people inside their own species. So putting just a few of them on a ship, they don't even want to get along with each other.
They're the ultimate isolationists.
They're the ultimate isolationists. And they've got people inside that society that interface with other species. They're not quite right in the head, according to the species itself. There's something wrong with them.
Even though to the rest of the species they interact with, everything's cool and groovy.
Oh, no, they are still ultra isolationist and very difficult to deal with. They're just less so than the others that'll shoot you type isolationists. But their own society views them as mentally damaged goods because they'll deal with other societies at all. It's a very interesting concept.
Why would you allow your purity to be compromised by associating with those vermin?
Yeah, sounds about right.
It's the cheese. Everyone likes the cheese.
There are no rats in this particular case. We brought in cats, but no rats.
Yes, but we could trade cheese to the rest of the universe and maple syrup.
Wow. How awesome would it be if we found an alien species that loved cockroaches?
That would be amazing.
Can you imagine how much money Houston alone could make in cockroach exports?
And then they invade Houston because they intend to take the source of cockroaches for their very own.
There you go. I like how you're working here. Suddenly they're down here killing off Terminex people.
They're killing off humans because they're a threat to the roach population.
What is this company called? Orkin? Make it cease to exist. They kill cockroaches.
Cockroaches can stand a nuclear strike. Fire missiles now. Irradiate the planet now.
Besides, once they're irradiated, they taste even better.
Crunchy.
Yummy, 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 yummy.
Gooey insides.
We've come for your moon pies.
Yikes.
The aliens love your
They're
moon
here for
pies.
the Twinkies.
They're coming for the Twinkies. That's what I was thinking, yeah. Zombieland all over again, except with aliens. We got the munchies, man. We went on 100 million light year bender. We're out of ganja and we're hungry.
Hey, dude, you
Hey,
got any
dude.
cockroaches?
We should probably bring this to a close because this is getting dumber by the minute.
Yeah, I think I feel my IQ falling through the floor even as we speak.
Well, if you have a comment or something to say about all the stupid shit that we just talked about, you can send an email to show@deadrobotsociety.com. You can tweet me at Paul_E_Cooley. You can join us at the Dead Robot Society Facebook group where Terry wrangles things. Let's see, what else do we do? You can go up to youtube.com/DRS podcast to see our ugly mugs and the cats. And why wouldn't you? Because they're cats. We have to thank our wonderful host, Podhoster, for making all 14 bazillion episodes of the Dead Robot Society available for your ear holes. And if you like the show, want to support us and keep it going, you can join us at patreon.com/DRS podcast, where for as little as $1 a month, you can get access to things like live shows and exclusive content. And at the $10 level, you get your name read. And our $10 level patrons are Chris Moody, Summer Wilson, Joshua Sylvester, Tony L. Joy, Andrew Smallwood, Veronica Jaguar, Rick Shaw, TJ Brick, Chris Winder, and Isabel Cushy. Thank you very much to our $10 patrons, and thank you very much to all of our patrons for making this show possible.
And for our regular listeners, thank you for listening.
Yeah, what the hell's wrong with you? And with that, we should probably get out of here. I think we should probably schedule a live show for like next weekend or something.
Let's see. I've got something going on next weekend. Let me look and make sure.
We've got this whole Xmas thing coming up and holidays, and people are getting locked down again. So it might be time to do
that
another
I'm doing something on Sunday. I think Saturday is open.
Okay, we'll figure this out. We'll talk about it after the show. Anyway, all right, folks. Take care. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.